Did you have some kind of mechanism, in a sense, so that you could make sure that you were true to Tolkien?
Well, we didn't want to put any of our own, certainly in terms of the thematic material, we didn't want to put any of our own baggage. I mean, we had no interest in putting our messages into this movie, but we thought that we should honor Tolkien by putting his messages into it. And we thought he cared about things. The countryside and the rise of evil, and he cared passionately about certain issues. And we thought what we should do to honor him is to make sure that what he cared about ends up in the movie. That's what we tried to do.
Salon Selectives presents hair so beautiful you feel like you just stepped out of a salon.
Salon shine, Salon Selectives, Salon glow, Salon Selectives.
Introducing Salon Selectives, new from Helene Curtis. 4 salon shampoos, 4 salon conditioners. You select the combination that will give you salon beautiful hair.
Salon style.
Feel salon beautiful every day.
Salon Selectives.
The Young and the Restless. This portion sponsored by Oil of Olay.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
5 minutes later.
Almost had it right there. Welcome to the Rings of Power finale. We made it. We made it. We survived. Oh my God. Having to sit through the finale of She-Hulk and now this. I thought She-Hulk was bad. This was worse. This is the worst finale of the biggest flop of all time, the most repurposed intellectual property and vandalized intellectual property of all time. This was absolute garbage, hot, flaming garbage. So as you can tell, I didn't like it very much. But I don't want to bury the lead. Halbrand is Sauron. I know it comes as such a surprise, but I did get one thing wrong. So I want to correct the error right there. We did get Rings of Power in the Rings of Power. I said that we wouldn't, but we did. They were in the last 3 minutes. They didn't really have any consequence, and the way they were created completely broke the lore, but we did get the Rings of Power. What we're not ever going to get is Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. Nope. Halbrand took his place. Period. End of story. He will not be showing up. I guess they could bring him back, but that would be incredibly stupid, and I'm talking about the Rings of Power writer, so never mind. Yes, you heard that right. Halbrand is Sauron, not Gandalf. Is Gandalf, but I don't think they're going to call him Gandalf. They're going to call him Olorin. The fact that they're using the term a starry wizard when they don't show up until later in the Third Age is another thing breaking the lore. But they did want to make Halbrand Sauron so they could ship him with Galadriel, and I've got to give my boy Ryan a little credit. He called something. So it's Galadriel's rejection because he really wanted to be with her. He wanted Galadriel to be his queen. He did. So he in a sense, Sauron's going to be an incel. So not only did Ghostbusters 2016 make essentially the troll the bad guy? I only heard that from Chris Gore because I've never watched the movie, by the way. Not only did The Boys season 2 make incels the bad guy, not only did the Batman make the Riddler an incel, She-Hulk made us the bad guys, calling us incels, and essentially Sauron is an incel. But it gets worse. It gets so much worse. That's pretty bad. But it's all the repurposed dialogue, events. They not even essentially. They remade The Lord of the Rings in the Second Age. Does this not sound familiar? Star Trek Into Darkness, The Force Awakens. What is the common element with those three things? Jar Jar Abrams. Jar Jar Abrams. And creative bankruptcy. Something Bad Reboot has been able to really bring to a whole new level. I guess descend to a whole new level. Like below the gutter, below the sewer. This is the sewer of creativity. That's what this is. This is the very definition of an adaptation Tolkien would hate. It's garish. It has no depth. The antithesis of his story, his language, his writing. It's a bastardization. It's not, I can't even say it's a bastardization. It is a giant turd in a copy of Tolkien's skin. And hopefully this ends this crap. Can we end effing prequels? The only reason most, not all, prequels are made, especially with giant intellectual properties, is so a girl can do it first. That might make a few SJWs and activists clutch their pearls and ruffle their feathers. But I'm breaking it down very simple for them, not for you. You're smart. They're not. I might have to speak a little slower. They make prequels to fill them with intersectionalism so girls can do it first. If this wasn't my 20th effing rodeo, I still would recognize it. And if you remove all the lore, this is still a shitty show. It's a bad show. Poorly written. The dialogue is atrocious. Atrocious. It's abysmal. It's an abomination. It's an affront to anything creative and imagination. And thank God it's over. And the good news is we're not going to see season 2 for a couple of years, maybe longer. Anna Turd, or is it Anna Tard, the Lord of Gifts? I saw you in the chat there. You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. It's so freaking bad. Shad's gonna blow a gasket. I'm gonna blow a gasket. And my kids are asleep. It's a school night. They're just gonna have to deal with it. Damn kid woke me up in the middle of the night when I was raising them. Oh, I want to eat. I'm tired. I'm a baby. I can't feed myself. Kids are so needy. Okay. So let's, by the way, round of applause in the chat. You can't see her, but she's here. She's in the back. She's helping me out. X-Ray Girl's here. Okay. Staying up all night. Staying up all night. We appreciate her. So I haven't heard from Az. I was going to send him the link, but you know, he probably had a nervous breakdown after She-Hulk. And who would blame him? And by the way, there's so many things that mirror House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones in this, including this dagger. You know, isn't it coincidence we have two fantasy shows and they both have dagger MacGuffins, a dying king who accidentally talks to the wrong person. By the way, they didn't even pay off that scene. I don't know if did anybody see this? They didn't pay off the scene. I was like waiting for him. And I'm like, did I miss it? But essentially, Girl Sildor is going to be the impetus behind getting a Lindil and eventually a Sildor to bind the faithful, because she'll have seen the vision. You know, she was brought because she never existed in the lore. Oh, and I think they're going to be shipping Muriel and Elendil. No, they are. And they shipped them on a ship. So we got shipping on a raft, and then we got shipping on a ship. Then the show is full of ship. That's a bad joke. It's a dad, but I'm a dad, so I get to make those. A Sildur. Well, you know, it's behind some of the minds of Star Trek Discovery, so I'm not surprised. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna skip the recap. I'm gonna try not to get hit. But we've got totally not Gandalf looking at his apple that they took 2 minutes for female Frodo to hand him, and he drops it, and it rolls around, and it's picked up. And at first we think it's Nori Brandyfoot. And again, I don't want to risk getting but it's not. It's not. She shapeshifts into Chicka Slim Lady or Feminem. That's right. That guy's got a nice rack. I'm just going to say so. Az would certainly appreciate that. That's not Sauron. That is a Sauron simp. An Easterling from Rune. Now, isn't it interesting that they made at least 2 of the Easterlings white? And they talked about honoring the lore and having all of this diversity, and it's our strength. And they didn't put the diversity where Tolkien intended it. I wonder why. Oh, intersectionalism. That's why. By the way, I've got a video coming out tomorrow. It's not the review. The review will be out Sunday like it always is. In the meantime, you can watch this. But I found an article that puts the re-intard on the Rings of Power. It is the single worst thing, and it's accompanied by something else that will be a completely separate video. But it is the worst of the worst of every article, even the Hollywood Reporter one. It's the worst one I've read since all of this madness started back in February, the week before I moved from California to the great free state of Texas. All right, back to Chicka Slim Lady. Not very slim up there, but that's okay. Yeah. Imagine waking up to that every morning. You'd want to flee into the void as well. All right. So them thinks it's Sauron. And they bow to him. They, them doesn't say anything. But we get a lot of leg. Now, European Lore put up a tweet this morning saying it looked like, is it Brazers? I don't know what the adult stuff is called. I don't know. I don't really partake, but you know, I've heard of it. And yeah, you get a lot of leg in this, a lot of knobby knees. It's good to know that women shave their legs. The Easterling women shave their legs in Middle Earth. You know, hey, you know, they got barbershops. They got really tight fades. By the way, no Don Lemonless, no Bronwyn, no dwarves. Like, honestly, the best thing about this show was the dwarves, and they're not here. Got to shout out Nerdrotic Daily too. Perry made a clip of Friday Night Tights where Garrett was sick, so he was in the background just kind of handling all the sharing, and like this whole thing of what looked like a Elrond during the fourth sex scene was pure accident. Like he's back there, we're going through the show, and he just hits pause at like the worst time where Elrond has some crazy look on his face, and that's what started the whole thing. It was nuts. I've watched it a couple times. I still crack up. It was so funny. So go watch it later. It's got a great thumbnail too. Yeah, we're all immature and we don't care. So they think he's Sauron, blah, blah, blah. We get the opening, really boring. Let's skip the intro. The Rings of Power. By the way, this episode was written by Jennifer Hutchinson of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul and J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay. So if you kind of recognize this will be a repurposed scene if I can not get in trouble. So remember, Halbrand, who's totally Sauron, needed elvish medicine. So this scene is supposed to remind us of Arwen from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. See, they're repurposing. They're not repurposing book stuff. This is how I know that they're lazy and they're trash. They're repurposing Lord of the Rings. I mean, if you want to repurpose stuff, it's still stupid, but repurpose it from the book. They're repurposing it from Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, which is still a masterpiece, the greatest trilogy of all time. That certainly made changes. It's not a word-for-word faithful adaptation. Nobody expects that. So, yeah, you could see him. He's finally hunched over his horse back there. So, yeah, it's supposed to remind us of that. There's a lot of that. The reason they do that is because they didn't want to take the time to properly adapt even the appendices. There's enough characters. There are enough stories where you could have filled something in with the Second Age. Unfortunately, it didn't have any of those familiar things that the Amazon marketers needed. Hobbits, wizards, has Kings of Men. It's got Numenor. You could have just done Numenor and elves and Sauron. It would have, and some men, and it would have been fine. Didn't need Harfoots. Didn't need wizards. You want to know why you didn't need them? Because Tolkien didn't put them in there. And if he wanted to put them in there, he would have. So the writers playing their BS games of, well, Tolkien wasn't specific. It's bullshit. All right. So we got Celebrimbor and Femrond just going full black pill. They're like, we're dead. We didn't get enough mithril. The magic metal that's going to somehow reflect all the darkness that's just decided to come and suck all the lives of the elves. We don't know if Morgoth started this. We don't know if it's Sauron. We never find out what was the cause of their life force draining, something that was never from the lore. By the way, I got to ask once again, scholars, professors, shills, how's that integrity holding up? Is it holding up okay now? You went, you had your nice trip over to England. You saw your 20 minutes. You sold your soul to Amazon. And now everybody who just went to your channel for lore or whatever knows you're just a shill and a fraud. It's on you. It's on you. To anybody who went, but we're honest about the show. I'm not even talking about you. Don't even worry about it. You know who is good is Men of the West. Men of the West. That's a good channel. It's a good, fun lore channel. And they gave it a shot and they were honest. And that's all we ask for is honesty. So go subscribe to that channel if you want some good, fun Tolkien lore. Men of the West. So So yeah, they're blackpilling. They said, yeah, we're done. We have to go alert the High King of our failure. I thought that was kind of a meta statement from the writers. They're going to have to alert High King Bezos of Amazon that they completely failed with this show, that people are not only going to hate it, they're going to blissfully forget about it very soon. And as I told you from a very, 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 very good source, this show couldn't be just a hit. It had to be Stranger Things. This thing has to be charting on the Nielsen's 6 months from now, like Stranger Things does. And it won't be. It's already dropping. Now, it's number 2, but it's closing. House of the Dragon is closing in, but House of the Dragon is actually beating it, like soundly now. Beating it soundly. We got the data today on the 4th episode. I'll show you the picture later. You know who is number 10 on the list? She-Hulk. Very popular She-Hulk. Celebrimbor is portrayed like a buffoon, like a moron. This is garbage. This is the worst thing about it is, like, when we first heard about a second age Lord of the Rings and we were still excited, we're like, oh my God, we're going to see Celebrimbor and Gil-galad and Celeborn and Gil-galad's in it for like a couple of minutes and he's an idiot and an a-hole. Celebrimbor is like a Ponzi moron. Like, oh, it's terrible. Almost as bad as Elrond. We need to do more with less. So we've only got a little mithril and we need to figure out a way to make some rings. And he talks about how the sun started out as something, the size of the palm of our hand. And how could it possibly match the powers wrought from the sun? They figure out a way. They ask Sauron, who's supposed to be Anatar, the Lord of Gifts, but he's actually Halbrand. So there it is right there. We must inform the High King of our failure. I don't think there's a statement more accurate about this show from this show. Except, I mean, Bezos isn't a High King. He's insecure trillionaire. Don't know how that works out. So, Guy Ladriel shows up with Halbrand to get him the elven medicine. I mean, he's gutted. Remember, he was on the brink of death. Totally fine. He's going to be like he's walking around doing push-ups, pull-ups, running a 5K. Like, he's good. Don't worry about it. So there's his elvish medicine. A lot of standing around and looking. Honestly, the last 10 minutes are just, we'll get there. Like, the show is a series of events are going to happen, and you're just waiting for them to happen, and they try to string it along. Oh, another thing I found out is about She-Hulk. I should have mentioned it in my video, but I didn't. You probably knew this already. I don't know. You know why the credits are so long on the Marvel shows, but the shows are like 23 minutes? It's to pad the minutes watched. People forget about it. When the show ends, they go and get a drink or they go take a leak and they leave the show on. Pads the minutes. Welcome to streaming. So Halbrand's going to be okay. So is Sauron, because they're the same person. I should have trusted you. It was a mistake that I wanted me to get. Yeah, they're really surprised. They're like, Galadriel, like, why are you totally here? And she said because she didn't feel worthy, so she jumped out of a boat and she just swam and hoped for the best. Swimmed? Jesus. I knew somehow my task was not complete. I pray I had chosen the way. Oh, wait. Oh, God. Oh, no. She also mentions that I did not swim across the ocean to fail again. It's like, you didn't swim across the ocean. You randomly came across a raft, which randomly came across a ship. You didn't swim across any ocean. Elves tire. They can go a lot longer than men, but they tire. They can die of things like frostbite. Oh, boy. I'm making my way across the notes as fast as I can. I'm going to try to give you the meat and give it to you raw. Celebrimbor talks about himself in third person. Sauron goes into he's all, what is this place? Celebrimbor's not here. This is the workshop of Celebrimbor. He doesn't say, like, this is my workshop. I don't know why. Sauron immediately, like the mask is off immediately. They didn't even play it subtle. He starts kissing his butt. He's like, oh, the great Celebrimbor. My master talked of, his master, Morgoth, spoke of Celebrimbor and the jewels of Fëanor. They used to speak the wonders of your craft. Sure he did. So he kisses his butt a little more. And then he just looks at the jewels and he's like, there it is. Fëanor's jewelcraft managed to capture the essence of Valinor. It's like, oh, they mentioned something Tolkien, and then they completely destroy the lore right after that. Then they talk about Mithril a little bit. And he says he's having a little trouble with it. So the Southern king suggests that maybe you should try to mix it basically with another metal. Tells Celebrimbor how to smith and craft. And at this point, I'm like, I always thought, I only knew certain things about the show. I didn't know how they were going to play out. So watching them play out is so much worse, because that's when it's hit me. I'm like, oh, Anatar's not going to be in this at all. Why? Like, who makes that creative decision? That's another thing. Tolkien fans back in 2017, when they're told that they're going to get a story of a second age, that's what they wanted to see. Now, I would argue, and I argued back then, we don't want to see this. Sauron is not a villain we want to see. He's best left to our imagination. Our imagination can do so much more than these hacks. Be careful what you wish for. Less is more. That's why I made the joke. We're going to see a Jaws prequel someday, and we're going to see Jaws' parents get it on and conceive Jaws. Do we need that? The best thing about Jaws is we didn't see the shark that much. It was an accident of filming, but it worked, and it made it genius. They wanted to show the shark more. It's a good thing they didn't, or the movie wouldn't have been as good. Because it was just the thought of the shark being out there. It's just the thought of Sauron being out there. That's enough. That's enough. Subtlety. Something they don't understand. We're in Numenor. King's dying. Pharazôn gives a little speech saying he's going to die. We're going to break out the black sails. We need to capture his likeness. And we finally get a hint of what this guy's about. Don't hear anything till afterwards. He talks about the king dying, and he's and burying him in a tomb, and that's something that no man or king can escape. And then he looks at the camera like this, like a telenovela. Like, no man can escape the mortality except for I. El Pharazôn. And that's it. And then he tasks all these, I think there's a dude, but these girls and Girl Sildor to capture his likeness for his tomb. So they each get an hour, and she gets to sit down and draw a picture of the king who is dying. And I shit you not, if you watch House of the Dragon last Sunday, Patty Constantine killed it. Had grown men weeping. His performance was so good. Compare it to this shit. A show that got schooled by children fighting. The fighting amongst children in a cave an episode ago was more consequential to the story. It helped build more character, and it was actually choreographed better than anything in this show. Children fighting. So Patty, towards the end of the show, he's dying. So he talks about the Song of Ice and Fire, but he thinks he's talking to Rhaenyra, but he's talking to Alicent. Same thing happens here. Palantir thinks he's talking to Muriel, but he's talking to Girl Sildor. And he says, it's not too late. We have to change our ways and go back to the old ways, or Numenor will fall. And then he gives her like a key to the upstairs to the Palantir, and then they just kind of end the scene. Now I'm going to go. I'm not sure if I missed it. I felt like I didn't miss it. She asked for help. He said, no. Yep, that's it. She goes up, she grabs the Palantir, and we see nothing. We don't know what happens. Oh, well, it's okay. She's a boring character. I'm glad it was over. Hey, we got some Gilly. We got some Gilly being a dick to Elrond, going, it's all over. They're saying that they have to make the mithril round, like a crown, so it constantly I forgot the term they used. Bullshittery. I'm not sure. Why a crown? The circular form is ideal. Allowing the light to arc back upon itself in one unbroken round crown or rings. He says, no, it's too late. Back to Lyndon. He said, this would have been nice, but I needed it a little sooner. Too bad. And then Celebrimbor says, well, this is important. It's a power not only of the flesh, over the flesh. So he says the exact same thing that Adar said, that Sauron said. And Galadriel goes, and we go right back into CSI Lyndon. And she starts investigating Halbrand just like that. Didn't bother vetting him before. And once you find out the end of this vetting, the great commander of the Northern armies looks like a bigger idiot than she already acts like anyway. So he says, no, we ain't doing this. We're going to go back to the Blessed Lands. Pack it up shop. Middle Earth is on his own. Peace out. And he also said it has a power over the unseen world. How y'all doing? Is everybody okay? Doing okay? I'm trying to get through this as fast as I can. It's boring as shit. It really is. It is boring. What's up, George? I can't yell your name right now. I'll go, George! What's up? George, the Giant Slayer. Go check out his channel. Oh, you're going to have fun with this one, homie. Number one, Payne McKay's epic disgrace to J.R.R. Tolkien is so thorough that legions of fans, the global fellowship of normies have rejected their ill-made goods. Amazon rings of recycled fantasy. Simon Tolkien's revenge porn failure is now complete. Yeah, Simon's a bitter little, isn't he? Trying to keep it down in the first half hour. I got demonetized on my last one. George, bless you. George for $49.99 more. George. I got to get the second one there. Wait, where's the second one? There's one. There's two. Okay. It would have been cheaper if Jeff Bezos would have gone with hair plugs for his midlife crisis instead of butchering Tolkien. It would have been cheaper and less embarrassing. It really would have. I mean, Elon's got some great ones, to be honest with you. It's like he kind of made me a believer in those things, but maybe if I'm a trillionaire, no, I won't give a crap. I'm going to shave my friggin' head. Don't even care. That's part two. $49.99 more from George. Hail, George. Yet they were all of them deceived by their own hubris. Tinseltown has lost a major battle in the war for the culture by their perversion of the legendarium. All hail Nerdrotic. All hail George the Giant Slayer. And he is right. I'm going to spoil the ending of tomorrow's video. Amazon has lost. They lost. They took a massive L. And you know who else took a massive L? The shills and the activists and the SJWs took a massive L in the culture war. And they going to be mad because they got their asses beat on this one. The Tolkien fandom wiped the floor with them. You did. So give yourself a round of applause. Sorry, the show sucked. But we knew it was going to suck. We were right about damn near everything. You were right. And like guys like George and yours truly, and even Jeremy, who could barely read, not Jeremy from the Quartering, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I've been schooling scholars and educated people. We've been schooling these people because, well, largely they're retarded. But aside from that, they're very good at regurgitating their own, I don't know, bile, sniffing their own farts. But they're not very good in real world application, especially fandom. Something Amazon, Disney, Paramount, Warner Brothers, name them all, were not ready for at all. No matter how long they've been around Hollywood, they weren't ready for fandom. The fickleness of fandom, the passion of fandom. All they saw is, wow, when things get popular, it's really awesome to have fans. Look at Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones got it. They realized that, oh, shit, we fucked up. We need to earn them back now. And they're doing that. Have they earned them all back? No. Will they ever earn them all back? No. The answer is no. But they'll earn enough to be okay as long as they respect the fans. What did DC just do? The dumbest company in the world. What did they just do? They brought back Superman, something Marvel will never have. What brought them to do this? The same reason Marvel is failing right now. Get woke, go broke. And WB is going effing broke, and they need a sure thing. Superman, 3 versions of Batman. Okay. Get rid of all the intersectionalism and sign me up. I'll be there. Oh. All right. Well, Sauron and Guy Ladriel meet again, and he says, I owe you, lady. You saved my life. You've brought me around. And he means it. Like, he really likes Guy Ladriel. So it would have been honestly better if he was just deceiving her the whole time and full of crap. But no, he means it. He wants this girl, which should have never been. He should be Anatar. She should be with Celeborn. It depends on the time. Could be here right now. But they removed Celeborn so they could not rob her of her agency, make her a better warrior than Celeborn, something she never was. Never was a battle commander, never fought in the wars of the First Age or the Second. And these a-holes who keep bringing up the fact that she was athletic and she put her hair up, well, somehow you extrapolate that into battle commander. They repurposed Baron and Luthien to Galadriel and Kella where to be seen born. Disgrace to the lore. It's all been a disgrace. So they're shipping. I gotta get caught up in my notes. Give me just a mo. Girl Sildur. We need a crown. Got that. Okay. I was dumbfounded by so much stuff. I actually stopped writing notes. I was like, "This what? This could not be happening." All right. So here's your big battle sequence. We have the all-female order from Rune of Sauron simps, which is totally different than the 2 all-female orders of warrior nuns. By the way, warrior nuns, got to put that were in Star Trek Picard season 1. Again, what do we have in common with those 2 things? Jar Jar Abrams. It's like there's a little intersectional notebook going around Hollywood going, if we're going to have a white male character and he's cis, we need to surround him with a minimum of 3 warrior women. Maybe 2 if one of them is really powerful. And once you recognize the pattern, you will see it everywhere. Black Panther, it happened. It did. You'll see it everywhere. It's intersectionalism, by the way. It is Bechdel test, intersectionalism. It is all this woke Hollywood garbage from their bubble. I didn't make up this term, but I'm going to be using it often. Reflecting the world of Los Angeles today. Oh, I'm not all of Los Angeles, by the way. We're talking about West LA, Burbank, not West LA, sorry, West Hollywood, not West LA. West Hollywood and Burbank. Maybe a little Glendale. Okay. Part of Pasadena. Woke white women complaining about shit. Oh boy. So I mentioned all that part. And we got Galadriel investigating Halbrand. And that's, we are here at this battle. They think, okay, by the way, the Chicka Slim Lady and Feminem think that the stranger, totally not Gandalf, is Sauron. So they bow to him and they said they're going to bring him back to the east where they will teach him, because he's got a veil on him right now. They will reteach him magic, essentially, the women. So he does his powers because he can't talk yet. So they say, we have to bind him. So they bind him. In the meantime, the Harfoots are coming to the rescue. We got the Harfoot of color, Lenny Henry, and 3 ladies. Guess who dies? I give you one guess. 1 male Harfoot to 3 female Harfoots. Again, pattern. Guess who dies? So Chicka Slim Lady and Feminem bow. Then they realize something's going on. The Harfoots try to come and rescue. Totally not Gandalf. I think the smell gave him away, to be honest with you. And one of the all-female order of warrior nun Sauron simps from the east throws a knife and hits Lenny Henry right in the gut. In the meantime, not Gandalf is, at first, he looks tied up, and it turns out that once again, it's Feminem, and she shapeshifts into herself from not Gandalf. He gets knocked around a few times and knocked out, while the warrior nuns rain hell on the Harfoots, and I'm rooting like hell for the warrior nuns, to be honest with you. I'm going, get them! Get them! Maybe a little fire will burn that stink off them. But not Gandalf saves the day. Oh, but it gets so much worse. So he pounds the ground again, and she, Feminem, loses her staff. You knew that was going to end up in the hands of Gandalf at some point, don't you? Don't you? So he's knocked out again, and this gives them enough time to go after the Harfoots and show off their powers a little more, blow a little fire, set the forest on fire, and then Nori can come and beg for help. And this like goes on forever. It's like, we know he's going to get up and help her. And I understand we have to have a little dramatic effect, like, oh, please help us. But man, this thing goes on, and it's algorithmic. It's, let's draw this out as long as we can for minutes watched, because this is no longer art. This is no longer entertainment. It is a platform for influence and content. Now, they are really trying to sell both of it to you here with this crap. But honestly, if we accomplish nothing else, and I mean we as a very large group, my fellow YouTubers, my fellow just fans who are out there tweeting every day, getting the word around in Facebooks, if Jar Jar Abrams and Bad Reboot never get work on and like, go make your own. I'm not saying go make your own original stuff. Go back to Alias, and they'll probably remake their own shit. To be honest with you, they're so fucking bankrupt. Go make original stuff. Just go. Stay away from my piece forever. Forever. So she's begging and begging and begging. Will you please get up? We're about to die. And thankfully, the chicka slim lady and Feminem are very gracious. They decide to stop using their powers and walk very slowly to the Harfoots that they could have killed 5 minutes ago. It's really dumb. And she's like, I know you're good. You're good. Fight for good. He's all, I'm not good. They said I'm not good. He can all of a sudden talk now because they knocked sense into him. And she's, he's got a gut wound, but he's not dead yet, by the way. We get the fire, and then we get him holding the staff. We get the totally not Gandalf shot. And for all of the people, I mean, like, I would have hated the wizards being in Second Age, no matter what. There's a bias there. But if it was going to be anything, the blue wizard, one of the wizards we know nothing about. Nope. This is 1,000, like we all suspected. Okay, this is not a surprise. Once I heard there was going to be a wizard in the Rings of Power, which I heard a long time ago, I figured it would be Gandalf. They're just not going to use his name. That would be my guess. I don't know why Warner Brothers isn't suing the bejesus out of him right now. They could use the money. But I'm guessing they got paid off. So it's Gandalf. We'll get to that confirmation later. But we get one of the worst instances of repurposing in this. In jest, we have brought up female Nazgul. In jest. Technically, it will not be female Nazgul, but it is. He says, I am good. He says, I am good. Where is it? Right. Where is it? Where does it come? I don't want to get in trouble here. Oh, wait. See, I went too far now. Blah, blah, blah. Being transformative. Are we still up? Well, X-Ray Girl can tell me. We're transformative. I got to be careful. God dang it. This is how long it. See how long? Okay, well, fuck it. He just says, I am good. And he says, from shadow you came, you will go back. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, there it is. I'm good. When they go, so the three warrior nun, Sauron Simps go, he is a star. So confirming he's a wizard. A star, a starry. That's the wizard. And he's not Sauron. Then he must be. And then he goes, I'm good. So we don't find out his name, by the way. Okay, I got to go back a little bit. I got to find that one shot. Oh boy, I went too far. If not, I got a picture of it. There it is. So I'm going to share the picture. That'll be safer. Here's a picture of the female Nazgul. Oh, it's on Twitter. That's easier. I was raging on Twitter a little bit. I'm not sorry at all. There it is. We'll be right back to that in a second. By the way, Rippaverse, hail. There you have it. Fracking female Nazgul. Oh, God. Again, if you're just joining us, what the Rings of Power essentially was the Force Awakens. They remade the Lord of the Rings in the Second Age. And they did it just as superficially. No, worse. Actually worse. The Force Awakens, superficial garbage. This is super superficial garbage, for lack of a better term. That's what he does. And then they turn into moths and float away. I'm sure they'll be back. Notice she has a crown, just like the Witch King of Angmar. I'm speechless how creatively bankrupt this is. Wow. They have no shame. They have been lying to us from the get-go. From the get-go. And this is Hollywood. Oh, these people are sleeping great at night. Don't worry. We might get under their skin, but they got another chance. Now, I think they're worried about, Papa Bezos, because they rushed into production and they're obviously revamping everything. But the question is, like, they had a supposed good writer with Jennifer Hudson, which shows you're only as good as your showrunner with these shows. Vince Gilligan, master, absolute master, one of the very few. And Ryan Condell, got to give it up to Ryan Condell, man. Wow. Did a good job with House of the Dragon. These guys are bad. And that's why it's beautiful, whether you like House of Dragon or not. I do. You can't deny that it's a quality production compared to this. And the fact that it came out before it and will be out longer than the Rings of Power is glorious. Everything about this is glorious. It was such a pleasant surprise if it hangs on for the next 2 episodes. By the way, join us this Sunday. Ryan Kinnell, Jane Theory, Fringy, Mahler, Shad. So he does the wizard staff thing. So, and this is straight up again, like, we've got this pitch for the second age. Are there hobbits? Are there wizards? No. Can there be? Does my job depend on it? Yes. Yes, there can be. Absolutely. I think we can find a letter or manipulate something to where they can be there, even though it completely breaks the lore. We'll pay off some professors and some scholars. We'll be totally fine. Call the fans racist. Everything will be cool. We'll just do what Star Wars did. Good. Okay. High five. Let's go. Let's see if I get in trouble for this. My God. Scene just takes too long. Okay. You saw them blow up anyway. Then Lenny Henry dies. Oh, there it is. It's right there. So they get blasted, and I guess this is their true form. We're not sure. How? Why? Who? I don't know. I don't know. A moth kills one of them in the face because remember moths? Remember when he talked to a moth in the Fellowship of the Ring? Remember? We're going to have a moth come out and they're going to go into moths. They show. Sadek Burroughs wants to die. Okay, by the way, he's got a gut wound. It's probably pretty serious. This wizard has already healed trees, land, destroyed female Nazgul, but he can't help a brother. Can't help a brother out. He's all, I'm dying. And the wizard just goes, sorry, it's not in the script for me to help you. I just like to see the sun rise and die. So this just goes on and on and on and on. And they go, okay, you're dead, because they're little asshole Harfoots. And honestly, this guy's got it coming. How many people has he left behind? And then it goes on and on and on. Oh, Numenor. We get some shipping on a ship. He misses his friend because, oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. I forgot about Isildur. Isildur, the guy who cuts the ring from Sauron's hand, totally dead, right? They don't answer the question this episode. So it's a mystery for an entire season. The guy we know who lives, his death is a mystery for the entire season. This is stupid. So we're below, and Muriel and Elendil talk about the faithful. That's about it. She blind, although her eyes, what's blind about her? Do you see anything? Her eyes look great. I mean, at least scar them up a little bit. But no, her eyes look fine. I don't know why she's blind. I think she's faking it. No, she's supposedly blind. I understand. I know. They only had $60 million an episode. I get it. They didn't have a makeup budget for blinding Muriel, who was never blind in the first place, shouldn't have been on the ship, didn't go to Middle Earth, didn't fight any battles, and wasn't a queen regent. Who was as fair as pearls and other things that are really white. It turns out Elendil is not going to be as black-pilled as he was last episode, even though he was crying like a little bitch. So yeah, she gives him kind of a hug, and he says, I got you, and we're going to go back. And then they get to Numenor, and she asks him, what is it? and they see the black sails. Palantir's dead. He's dead. So the bells are tolling. A king is dead at the end of a season where there was a MacGuffin dagger. So the person who talked to me said there were some similarities to Game of Thrones. They were there. I mean, we didn't get any like twincest or uncle shagging, but there's always next season. There's El Ferzon. Karl Marx Ferzon. Totally thinking about stealing the throne. We'll find out in a couple years. There was an explosion back in Linden. The mithril is not taking. They need another way to figure this out. And thank God Sauron is there. Perhaps we're pushing ourselves too hard.
Flip too hard, damn it!
And he says, take an easier approach. That's what she said. So, meaning that the metals shouldn't be forced to join. We should totally make some rings. That's what he's saying. So they're going to get back to work and make some rings. In the meantime, Guy Ladriel was having him investigated, and she sent her little personal assistant, Twink Elf, to go, who doesn't look like an elf. Like the worst example of an elf in this entire show. The elves look terrible, right? So there has to be, you can't tell me it was a creative decision to give them short hair. Do you want to differentiate them from Warner Brothers elves? But they don't like look better. They look worse. The costuming is worse. So there's either intellectual property issues where they can only make one or two elves look like elves, or it's a creative one to make them look a little more femmy. I report, you decide. I give you my opinion, you decide. Is it just a really bad creative decision or one they were forced to make through intellectual property? Now that I think about it, they probably just made the bad creative decision. These people feel dumb to me. Well, she did the investigation, and she finally decides to vet Sauron Halbrand after the battle and promising all the Southrons a king. Maybe somebody in that village knew about some lore, some rock painting, some records, something, maybe even, I don't know, the elves knew who were there. Maybe you ask Don Lemonless, hey, did these people have a king? Did they have a king? And he would have said, no, he's actually been dead. The last king in the South has died 1,000 years ago. So she gets this little scroll and she finds out that the last king in the South died 1,000 years ago. After all of this, it's so stupid. But this is the same woman who saw the Sauron mark and the commander who never looked at an effing map. Just so you know, maps weren't great in the Middle Ages, but they were great in Tolkien's lore because elves made most of the maps, the lore masters, or some Numenorians too. They're pretty solid maps. You know who familiarizes themselves with maps? The kind of job that familiarizes themselves with the land? Battle commanders. So she's feeling pretty bad because she's stupid. And she should. Halbrand totally knows she's on to him, by the way. Says, hey, baby. We totally got this ring thing figured out. And she's like, who are you? The last king of the South with that mark died 1,000 years ago. And he's like, I told you I found it on a dead man. And he did. You convinced Muriel to save the men of Middle Earth. No, you did. I wanted to stay there. I have been awake I have been awake since before the breaking of the first silence, after she asks who he is. In that time, I have had many names. Now, you've heard this reported on this channel and others for months now. So, and to the person, you know who you are. Thank you. Eternally grateful. The person who cares. The person who actually cares. Thank you. We all thank you. The chat thanks you. Halbrand is Sauron. So then we go into this weird flashback because she pulls a knife on him. And he stops it. And then they go into a flashback with Finrod. And it's actually Sauron. And she goes, you killed my brother. I will avenge him. And he said, no, I actually died trying to ensure peace. And that's what Sauron wants to do. He actually wants to heal the world. And, that was his point of view back in the Second Age. Sauron's point of view was, from a very evil perspective, I want to heal the world. He doesn't want to destroy Middle Earth. He just wants to rule it. And he thinks he knows the best way. So Finrod tries to convince her. Finrod as Sauron tries to convince her. I really thought they were going to repeat the dialogue. Why does a stone sink and a boat float? But no, they just said, touch the darkness. You want to touch the darkness again. And she said, no. Then they're back on the raft. And Sauron says, hey, no, I'm actually glad Morgoth is dead. It felt like a clenched fist around my neck is gone. I saw the light of the one once again. I felt that light. And I think you and I should totally hook up and rule. And we should just continue making these rings of power, these 3 rings. And he says, I want you to be my queen. I got to make sure I get the shot here, because there is a Sauron reflection shot. And he said, Middle Earth, if it's going to have a future, you need me right now, because this darkness is coming. There's the shot. There's the shot. But not only did they do that, Sauron, the dialogue from the Fellowship of the Ring gets repurposed. Gets repurposed. See if I can get it. Let's get it right. In place of, this is basically what they say. I would not be a dark lord. You would not be a dark lord. You would be a queen. As beautiful and terrible as the dawn, treacherous as the seas, stronger than the foundations of earth. They actually use that dialogue right here. Fuck this show. That's when I started. I kind of stopped taking notes and throwing things at this point. My God, I'm so glad this is over. Jesus, this day. I recorded a Rings of Power video that's not a review. Last night, this morning, did the She-Hulk review all the way up until this show started. So I was watching She-Hulk slowly until like 10:30. My sobriety is strong. Probably going to need a meeting tomorrow before Friday Night Tights. So he wants her for the light, and he's like, bind me to your light, and I'll bind you to my power. And then they start yelling at each other. Or rule. And she's like, I'll never. And he's like, bitch, I'm gonna do what I say. And he's like, how are you going to explain to your friends that Sauron lives because of you? And then we get this. This is so bad. Like it looks like they got her order wrong at Starbucks. I wanted 2 shots of my latte. My name is not Guy Ladriel. Ugh. Then she sinks into the sea, and I was kind of hoping she drowned right here, but it doesn't happen. Then she wakes up in the pond and tries to stab Elrond. She makes him prove that it's Elrond, and he says that it was Galadriel who found Elrond when he was an orphan on the beach, half elven, lost, with no parents, and she gave him water. But she doesn't tell him that she just found Sauron. She also doesn't tell Celebrimbor or anyone else. She knows definitively that's Sauron. She tells Elrond that he basically bailed and we'll never see him again, and we shouldn't be if he shows up again, don't be talking to him. Then she asks, have the rings been made? And Elrond said, they're almost done. They're working on them. Oh, no. So she's wet. Celebrimbor just says, hey, you're wet. And that's it. They don't really address why she's wet, why Halbrand is just suddenly missing. These are some dumb motherfucking elves. Oh, and this ending goes on forever. Oh, this part. Oh, God dang it. So they decide to do rings, but they were going to do two rings. Remember, Galadriel was in Lindon. Galadriel was around Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. She didn't like him. She was suspicious. She knew something was up, but they still made the rings. What was why did they make the rings? It wasn't because there was leaf cancer everywhere. Here it comes. This, I would argue, because I already knew Halbrand was Sauron and Gandalf. Like this, I heard this once and I couldn't believe it. Okay. It's Guy Ladriel's idea to make 3 rings. Tolkien is just spinning in his grave. She has to be the impetus of everything. As a matter of fact, if you look back through this show, because it's intersectionalism. By the way, I'm an egalitarian guy. I like balance. I don't mind I'd love to see more of men and women actually working together. But see, Hollywood doesn't want that. That is very anti-intersectionalism, to see men and women working together, because they want to separate us so they can put us in fucking voting blocks and who knows what else after that. Really against the whole marriage, togetherness, traditional thing. Men and women working together as friends, as equals. Totally fucking fine with that. But that we're not seeing this. Women are the impetus of every decision in this fucking show. And it's because Lindsay Weber got in there and said, there's too many white cis males in Tolkien. We need to fix what's wrong with Tolkien because we know better. I'm from Bad Reboot. I produced Cloverfield. Okay? I was totally the producer of Cloverfield. That's better than anything Tolkien has done. Piss off. And then Celebrimbor goes, yes, but we need some gold and silver from Valinor. Hand over your dagger. True creation requires sacrifice. And I'm Grandma Brimbor. Don't worry, sweetie. I'll do your hair afterwards. Get you a little balayage, blow dry. Don't ask me how my wife's a hairdresser. That's how I know those things. Yeah, sure. Probably makes me a little gay. So yeah. And then there's this long, and I mean long scene of them forging the three rings of power. Now, like spending a little time on it, I understand. But this goes on. But first, we have another scene that just goes on. By the way, this was an hour and 12-minute episode, and the last 20 minutes are saying goodbye to the Harfoots and forging rings. And then we get one little shot of Sauron at the end. So, not Gandalf totally can talk now. He's fine. He's just like, how's it going? That's great. I'm going to go to the east. And, Nori, female Frodo, rightly says, weren't they evil? Like, maybe you shouldn't go to the east. But he says, I need to go to the east because the plot says so. Okay. Well, she needs to go with them because the plot says so. Because we have to have a wizard and a hobbit. Oh, don't say hobbit, say Harfoot. We didn't get the rights to that. Even though we own MGM now. Not really sure how that works. So they acknowledge that the Hobbit of Color is dead. She says goodbye to her dad and says, my God, I can't wait till we invent showers. And she says bye to female Sam, which I'm sure will end up following her eventually. And then we get more repurposed dialogue. Let's get to where it is. They're trying to decide where to go. And not Gandalf says, oh, I like the smell of this direction. Don't do it. So he goes, there it is. I like the smell of this direction. Are you sure? So he says, yes. When in doubt, Eleanor Brandyfoot. Follow your nose. So it's Gandalf. It's Gandalf. Again, they will call him Olorin probably. Almost done, folks. So, and that scene took minutes of them going goodbye. Here's some snails for the big fella. Have I taught you nothing? Harfoot without manners is like a square wheel, blah, 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 blah. Repurpose some Lord of the Rings dialogue. Make not Gandalf Gandalf. Then we have like, look at how she stands. This is like her trying to be all regal. She looks little. She looks tiny. So they put the mithril in and it swirls, turns into a swirly. And we get some, they're making the rings, practical effects. That's great. Wow. Let's give them a round of applause for making real rings and not CGIing them. In the meantime, Elrond, through his gift of sight, I don't know, just figures out that Galadriel, completely littered, by the way, put the scroll in the water, and he found it, and he figured out who Sauron is as well by the scroll. Not really sure. Looks at Galadriel, kind of mad that she lied to him, because Galadriel, big liar. Galadriel, huge liar, just known for being a shifty little liar, just like Gil-galad. High regional manager Gil-galad. So he finds this, he's a little pissed, but they make the rings. Ooh, look at the rings. Look at the rings. Let's all look at the rings. Look at the rings. Lord of the Rings. Remember the scene in the beginning of Fellowship? The 3 elven rings. Oh, and the show ends with somebody singing the One Ring, the poem of the One Ring. And it's like it's some Billie Eilish stuff. Not a fan. They look at each other. Thunder breaking. Oh my God, it's totally hot Sauron. I can change him. There he is, going to Mordor, which is totally not supposed to remind us of the end of the Fellowship of the Ring. And yes, they sing the damn song at the end. Three rings under the sky. I hate that kind of music. All right, so that's it. The Rings of Power is done. We've survived 8 episodes that were like an hour and 10 minutes long that felt like they were hours long. It was painfully boring, poorly acted. The dialogue was terrible. And so much of it was just repurposed. It was trying to set up events so we could repurpose a scene to remind us of a movie. Not even the books. The movie, they aren't technically a prequel to. They have nothing to do with each other. Now, according to some, Amazon can remake Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit if they want to. According to many others, they cannot because of Warner Brothers. So we need to pray for Warner Brothers right now for that just not to happen. Warner Brothers is producing an anime, War of the Rohirrim. I kind of am looking forward to that. Like, we'll see. I do believe Philippa Boyens or Fran Walsh, or maybe both of them, are involved. And that I'm fine with. You know, like an animated Fall of Numenor would have been great. Fantastic. This is bad. This is very, very bad. We got some New Zealand pesos here. Good evening from Daniel Gunson. I'm very sorry that they left your country, and I'm also very thankful that they left your country. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for the 20 New Zealand pesos. I appreciate it. Wow, we had 8,500 people watching at 2 a.m. Central here in Texas. Thank you. You're probably waiting for the review and ready to go to sleep. But we got some super chats to get to. But that's it. I'm going to go over this again in my review and break it down and kind of sum everything up for the season. Where do we go from here? We enjoy the 2.5 years it will not be around. There will be news, I'm sure. More fan attacks. Absolutely, there will be more fan attacks. I promise you. Right around the corner. It's coming. Did you know you're not only patently evil if you criticize this show? You're not only fascist adjacent. Criticizing the Rings of Power is a threat to our democracy. I shit you not. Not kidding. Our discourse is a threat to democracy because our opinions are misinformation. Now, never mind that the people accusing this of us of this are spreading lies, half-truths, and omitting the truth, which is misinformation. See how this works? We can't have an individual have power. It has to be an authoritative source, an entity. It can't be an individual people having power. Madness. Crazy. Things are changing everywhere. It's not just here. It's a broader thing. I like to focus on pop culture because that's what I know, but it's a much broader, bigger thing. And I'm glad more people are on board and enough of the lies from these authoritative sources like Amazon. I hope it bankrupts Amazon Studios. No sympathy. I love the Terminal List. Hopefully somebody else will pick it up. It's a really good show. Reacher, not bad. Not a bad show. But this could, according to some, it's make or break. And I will remind you all that back in the 90s, Disney decided to buy the Big A, the Anaheim Angels, the Anaheim Ducks. And they were a juggernaut. Disney was a juggernaut. They bought these sports teams. They thought it was a good investment and they sucked at it. So they sold them. Same thing could happen to Marvel or any other IP. They could farm them out, sell them when they are not profitable anymore. I don't know if this thing will ever be profitable. I can't see it. I can't see it. It's getting beat by Cobra Kai. It's getting beat by a show that costs 1,000th of what this show costs. Pretty handily. All right. Let's get to some soups. Christopher Rout for 20 euros says, and thank you, says, hey, Gary, I have a white pill moment to share. Lord of the Rings films have been re-released in Vietnam, where I work. All the media bullshit about the works, racism is crap. The theaters I've been to are full of locals enjoying Tolkien's work. That is fucking brilliant. Spread that around. Melkor's proteges, JD and Patrick, stealing Tolkien valor, blew the lore in many ways, besides more bad, nonsensical dialogue and stealing scenes and repurposing dialogue and marring characters and completely missing Tolkien's themes. Very well said. They aren't here. The Tolkien's themes are not here. This is 2 parts from KSH. By the way, thanks, X-Ray Girl. You're the best. $100 total, 2 parts. First time super chat. Welcome. But I had my red pill moment. Gavin Newsom just signed a bill allowing the government to take my medical license for spreading misinformation. I did hear that. Yes. And believe me, they're going to come after everybody, including online commenters about COVID, by the way. This is war. Keep doing what you do and fighting the good fight. Question that you don't have to answer since it is nothing to do with Rings of Power. What is the best city in Texas for a young doctor and a business owner? Bonus points if there's some good Christian men around. I would say a lifelong Texan would answer that better, but I like very much where I am. So I'm in the northern part of San Antonio on the very outskirts of town in the burbs. It's where I want to be. Lots of churches, lots of businesses. They need doctors. Everything's cheaper. It's great. Weather's pretty good too. A little hot in the summer, but you get used to it. And I'm sure there's many Texans who can tell you other places that are probably cheaper and better than me. Scott McKenzie for $19.99. I read that one already. George, there is George. We got more from George. Jorge, the Gigante Slayer. For $49.99 says, plus season 2 was announced to only use all female. No, really? Oh my God. I'm not surprised. Season 2 was announced to only use all female directors. No mention of qualifications, just DEI quota box checks questions. How much are they going to steal from Jackson in their copy pasta production? So much. Oh, it's going to be so bad. They're doing the all female director thing. Really? You know, that's discrimination, right? You know, there were laws in California that they changed so they can do stuff like that. Need to get out of Cali. Serious. Or vote different people in. I don't know. Had your chance, Cali. George the Giant Slayer for $19.99. Where is Calabrian? Was she aborted? They throw in Arion and daughter Elendil didn't have as girl boss number 2 in Numenor, but no Calabrian. Well, I'm sure like either Celeborn is prisoner somewhere. That's what I'm guessing. And they'll probably time jump it for so Celebrian. I don't know. Círdan's going to be in season 2, but they haven't said a word about Celeborn or Celebrian. They might be down the road like season 3. Can you imagine like thinking your husband's dead? That's so retarded. Joey GK for 100 Martian pesos. I don't know what that is, but that's cool. Thank you. They should just add a what if to the title like Marvel did. Yes. Marvel couldn't even get the what if right. That's the sad part. Rush Paps for $19.99. Member berries are the favorite fruit of a dying culture, reflecting on a better past. This shit was better. This shit was better bumper sticker philosophy dialogue than the Rings of Power dialogue. I totally agree. George is back for $19.99. The great news. Rings season 2 premiere will go against War of the Rohirrim. Eowyn will narrate with Brian Cox as Helm Hammerhand. Fuck yeah. There will be no mithril medical cure, all for jock itch and toe fungus, plus elven immortality. I forgot Brian Cox is Helm Hammerhand. That's freaking awesome. And yeah, it's going to take him a minute to make because the animation is going to be good. Ron C for $19.99. Nerd, you're the man. No, you're the man, Ron. Thank you for the $19.99. Appreciate it. Perry Pereira for $19.99. If this has been the entire episode, I would have been thrilled. Gil-galad to Guy Ladriel. You should not be standing here at all. Agreed. Gil-galad to entitled Elrond. You are owed nothing. Us. Yes. Unfortunately, both of those characters shoot back at Gil-galad. God, it's so terrible, right? Paul? Oh. Like, that was the first thing that hit my head when I heard it's going to be a second age and it's on Amazon. By the way, this is before the before time when I used to get excited about stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, we're going to see Celebrimbor, Gil-galad, and the Forging of the Rings. It's going to be great. No. Somebody turned on CERN and we went into the wrong timeline. Gorbs for 10 British pounds, proper money. Will this show be remembered for anything other than the memes by next year? No, but the memes will be remembered forever because Legion of Memers and all your little Padawans out there, you have been brilliant. You have made me laugh my ass off for 7 weeks now, and it's going to be so much better this weekend. It's going to be great. So you can always rely on the fandom. If the things we love are destroyed, we'll find a way to mock it and laugh with each other, and it's great. It's great. That comes with not pissing on your fandom. See, we're a passionate lot, and as I brought up with the Sonic director, right? Like he is the one guy who figured it out. The one guy I went, we fucked up. We'll do better. I hope you like what we did. We're going to do our best. That's all we need to hear. And it's, you know what? We're not always going to like it. We're not always going to like it. And like, believe me, things have gotten so bad now. I have rethought a lot of things I thought were bad before. I'm like, maybe I was a little hard on that, because we could see, the famous last words, how much worse could it get? Nathan Reed for 10 Canadian pesos. It's amazing that the Salon Selective song has more soul in it than this effing abomination. We've all had this grief counseling channel. I mean fellowship. Yes, and I'm thankful you're here. It's commiseration. It reminds me a lot of that first season of Star Trek Discovery, but add about 1,000 times. Hesperion for $10. Hey, let's make Rings of Power in the last 3 minutes of season 1, not, building up to them over 8 episodes. That's only basic storytelling. Rings of Power is better than that. It's the most basic. I just graduated from English lit class, in 11th grade bullshit. I mean, admittedly, a grade I never technically attended at school, but that's how I would imagine it. 300 mirrors for $10. I need a lobotomy so I can forget the giant steaming pile of I was borderline crying laughing. This is awful. Nothing to do with Tolkien, and I'm just happy it's over. Believe me, I am too. I mean, it's been freaking fantastic for the channel. It's been great, and you guys are great. And thank you. There's over 572,000 of you out there. Thank you. 43%. No, now it's down to 39 now. 39% haven't subscribed yet. That's cool, but maybe consider it. But I'm glad it's over. I'll have my Thursday nights back. My wife will be very glad it's over. Buttercup for $10. Don't talk about turds and Rings of Power that way. That is an insult to turds. Keep speaking the truth, my friend. I will. Turds serve a purpose. They go back to the Mother Earth and help things grow. This just is. It's like the leaf cancer in its own show. Colton Lynch for $10. Eminem, Slim Shady, Trans Overlord. What the hell is it? I don't know. We'll have to ask Az. He's an expert in that subject, so I'll bring it up on Friday Night Tights. Maximus Tamias for $10. The Rings of Pride, that's good, is a hateful deconstruct. Man, that you can have double meaning in that, triple meaning in that. That's good. The Rings of Pride is a hateful deconstruction of a beloved franchise for the sole purpose of destroying great works and replacing them with intersectional feminists and woke Yakuza propaganda. Well said. Amigoville for $9.99. What Halbrand scored the winning touchdown on Thursday Night Football and hit the gritty? I jumped out of my seat and cheered. He does look like he's in Friday Night Lights, doesn't he? Hoffman, KSP Engineering for $10. Thank you for the donation. I greatly appreciate it. Rangri Ranga for $14.99 Australian. Watch just some guy's video. He mentioned that the Rings of Prime repurposed the greatest love story, Beren and Luthien, to Galadriel and Kella, where to obscene born. Such a disgrace to Tolkien. They I don't know, they repurposed Beren and Luthien with somewhat Galadriel and Halbrand. And they also did it with Bronwyn and Don Lemonless. Hoffman, KSP Engineering for $10. Lord of the Rings was full of reverence for the past. Characters were concerned with living up to their legendary ancestors. Kill the past. Progressive writers hate everything Lord of the Rings stands for. Highly recommend. I'm going to be borrowing a couple of clips from it for my next vid. I've put them in before, but highly recommend. Go on YouTube and just search 1996 Tolkien documentary. It's about an hour and a half long. Talks to, I believe, his daughter, all of his sons, Tom Shippey when he was younger, Dame Judith Anderson's in it. As Anderson, Dame Judith, the Dame Judith. She's in it. She narrates it. It's freaking great. It is great. And everything these fracking shill professors and scholars are contradicting themselves with can be found there. That is where if you want to like a quick, forget Wikipedia, watch this documentary. It's very good. And it will give you kind of a basis of what he was about. They have interviews with Tolkien. He tells you where he came up with ideas with names, but then it would go from a name to a place. And Tolkien was a linguist. So his whole thing was figuring out where words came from, where names came from for places. You ever been walking around your local neighborhood, names of streets, names of a creek? Who named it? There's so many places we don't know, like, what was behind the name. Well, you find out, especially in a place like the UK that's freaking old, that a lot of the names do go back to the Celts. It's really cool. So that's where his reverence of history came from. He just was a curious guy and wanted to know where everything came from. They also mentioned, that gets baked into his work, even with Gollum, right? Gollum went to the Misty Mountains because he wanted to see the roots of the mountains. He was interested where things came from, where things grew from, even before the ring, right? So that's a little bit of Tolkien in there. Very curious about what you would think would be like odd things, but I don't think so. I do that when I'm on a road trip. You'll see like some big cracked erratic rock, a rock that an iceberg brought into the middle of land. You're like, how the hell did that get there? Curious. Tier $7.28 for $10. So Muriel knowingly seals the fate of her civilization, all to send 20 soldiers to save 20 worthless peasants across the sea. So some dude she just met could become their king. Yep, who apparently is not anymore. K-Man, thanks for the $10. Starting to lose my voice. I've been yakking a lot today. Jabbo Jr. for $10. All three of the creators are white and they had no experience. Dare I say white privilege? Yeah. Yeah, when it comes to Jar Jar Abrams, yes. Corey Castle for 10 Australian dollars. Not Gandalf to Slim Shady to D12 to Nazguls. You shall not pass because Az got excited about your rack. The crying game. Germified for $5. Take their wheels off. Hobbit Lady is the leader now? Yes, she is. I yelled at the screen when they did the follow your nose line. So predictable. What garbage. Yeah, now, like aside from Gilgalad, it's all girl bosses. It's all girl bosses, except for Gilgalad. And he's a moron. First time super chat. F Mama Susan. Tony Montana agrees with you. Always follow your nose message. Oh, there you go. By the way. Bridge burner boyo for 5 Belgian pesos, maybe. All right. What time are we at here? Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. We can finish this up. Slide belts for $4.99. I was there for the season 1 finale of the Rings of Power. It should have ended that day, but evil was allowed to endure. Oh, that is beautiful. Nick Hirton for $2. How was ISOM number 1? Haven't read it yet. I've been busy with Rings of Power stuff, but I got it right here. And I'm going to read it before Friday Night Tights tomorrow. So it'll be read. It'll be read. So I'll let you know. But I'm repping my brother, Eric July from the Rippaverse. By the way, go check out the Rippaverse. Go sign up. It's a legit hot comic. Like comic speculators are going nuts. And it's great to see. It's great to see. As a matter of fact, I've been on like this. I don't know. I've been reading Spawn again. I freaking love Spawn. I love Spawn. I love Toddy M. Been reading my Spawn again. So good. And if you want to see something good that if you're a Spawn fan, the animated series from HBO is a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. Available on HBO Max. Gorbs for £5 British. So Sauron wanted to cover the world in a second darkness because he got rejected by a woman. Wow. Just wow. Yes. Yes. I'm honestly impressed. Dumb and Dumber looked every opportunity to break the lore and did so in the highest possible magnitude. Back to the book, the door says for $5. Yeah, that was a lie. They just needed to name a place or a thing or find some dialogue to repurpose. Romulo Garcia for $1.99. Hail, hopefully this sheet show is finally dead. Woo, yes, Lord of the Rings. I'm not supposed to say that. Rings of Power. The Rings of Power is DOA. Like it is. It's going to fade from existence 2.5 years, and it will be lucky to get like Westworld season 4 ratings. Did you know Westworld was still a show? Did you know they just finished a 4th season? I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't, because nobody watched it. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to, I mean, like, think about it. They have promised the estate 5 seasons, and it's going to take them a decade to make it. Can you imagine talking about Rings of Power when I'm 63? No fucking way. No way. Greiser for £5 British. Dagger McMuffins sound like Amazon's new detective show set in Lord of the Rings universe. It might be. It might be better too. Gleeman for $2. Wokes should love Christianity. Eve sinned first. They should, but they don't. They don't. They really love picking on you guys a lot. I'm not talking about bullies. They always cry about like being like bullies. They're the biggest like version. I hate that word because, you know, I'm a man, but they really, that's who they, it's easy because you guys are very turn the other cheek, or you're used to it by now, or you're normal human beings and you don't listen to fucking morons, which is pretty good to do. But you don't see that in with other religions. You just don't. Ditzy Ditzy for 50. What is that? Martian peso. Hail to Girl Silder's rope enhanced boobas. Yeah, I mean, yes, they're there. I'm not going to ignore them, but I'm just I see that actress and I see crazy eyes. Can't you see it? You guys don't see the crazy eyes? You haven't had a crazy ex-girlfriend, have you? I have. So I watch out for I watch out for I will stab you in your sleep eyes. It's just a thing. Comrade Commissar Yuri for 449. Gary, we've been upgraded from trolls to Balrogs now. I take that mantle on. I do too. I would too. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead. What is up, my friend? The last time I saw you in person, we were at New York at the Joker in 2019, before the dark times, before COVID. Did the real Slim Sauron stand up in this episode? Yes. In my head, the Eminem looking guy is a gal, by the way, is real Slim Sauron, but I have not watched the episode yet. Yeah, don't. It's really bad. Sleep, do your taxes, pay some bills, call somebody you haven't in a while. I don't know. Eric K for $2. Ice may kill elves, but they are fireproof now. Apparently they are. Thank you, Eric. Nightwish fan, 1991 for $5. The finale of She-Hulk, the finale and She-Hulk finale in the span of 24 hours. How do you not have brain tumor right now? I'm not really sure. It might start metastasizing right now. Patently evil intensifies, says Hitet Ong for 20 Japanese yen. Hail Japan, by the way. Oh, sorry. I was sorry to hear about the Yu-Gi-Oh creator, not creator, co-creator. Like, he died back in July 4th, but they just announced like how he died. He was trying to save people in a riptide and he drowned. Went out like a freaking Chad. Sorry he died though. But I came to Nashville for the Cash Museum. Oh, is there a Johnny Cash Museum in Nashville? What? I got to go. Like tomorrow. I stayed to get drunk. Now I'm drunk and sick of country music. Hail Friday Night Tights, says Ulysses Valenzuela. Well, it depends on what country music. It is actually physically, this is scientifically proven, by the way. It is physically impossible to get sick of Johnny Cash. Just saying, you can listen to Johnny Cash 24/7 and your life will just be better. Nate the Scott for 10 euros. The failure of, oh, this is a Tolkien quote. Tolkien quote. The failure of poor films is often precisely an exaggeration and in the intrusion of unwarranted matter owing to not perceiving where the core of the original lies. J.R.R. Tolkien, in a very nice way, saying, you don't know jack shit, you moron. It really is great. WikiHouse History for $2 Australian. Rings of Power has was made to ruin Lord of the Rings. They hate Catholicism. They do. They absolutely despise it. So all of the Catholic themes that are clearly there, again, refer to that documentary I was talking about before, the 1996 documentary where they talk to a couple of Catholic priests, including Tolkien's son. And they talk about where he doesn't overtly get religious, but there are the ideas of it, including a one God kind of thing. And again, you don't have to be religious to it's fine. Like, I'm not super religious. It's never bothered me. It doesn't hurt to be a little spiritual though. You know what I mean? Zeroth Alpha for 5 Canadian pesos. The only ship they should have in Tolkien is the Fellowship. Damn right. Damn right. The Rand Man for $2. How has Sauron's facial hair not changed? How did Don Lemonless's fade never grow? I don't know. Magic. Romulo Garcia for $4.99. So stunning, so brave of them to have whamming Nazguls. I know Nazgirls. Nazgirls. Nas girls. That's what I should have done on Twitter. Oh, you win. Romulo Garcia, you get credit for Nas girls. Nas girls. Space Cake for 5 British pounds. I'm late, but watching Corey Tolkien Professor on Twitch, drowning in sorrows and trying to rationalize away this nonsense show. Great fun. Oh, is he on Twitch? God, I have to go to Twitch. I might actually watch that after this. I want to see the cope. Yes, I'm going to be petty. I'm going to be a petty little man, and I'm going to watch a lot of cope tomorrow and just break out my popcorn. It's going to taste so good. Dub MCZs for $5. I was really hoping this show would have been good for the sake of the God of War adaptation Sony awarded Amazon. Sorry, Elron. Hope is definitely Mir. Yes. That sucks. Who's running the show? It just depends on who's running the show. Because, Terminal List was good, but it didn't have the focus of all the bigwigs. It was just this little thing that they made that happens to be probably the most popular thing they've done. This Jennifer Salke, his name is all over this. By the way, there's a self-insert. Morphic Clark looks almost exactly like Jennifer Salke. You don't think there's a little similarity there? I mean, they look a lot alike, and I get very much Kathleen Kennedy vibes. And listen, you're not the head of a studio if you're not some power-hungry narcissist, egomaniac narcissist. You're not. You don't make it in Hollywood without being an egomaniac narcissist. So I know our criticism bothers them so much. Sure, they sleep at night because they're sociopathic narcissists, but it bothers them. It bothers them because it makes them look bad. And you know what makes it 1,000 times worse? House of the Dragon succeeding. House of the Dragon succeeding is the biggest slap in Jennifer Salke's face that anybody could do. And the fans, and the same fans, a lot of the same fans who hate the Rings of Power cannot wait to watch the next episode of House of the Dragon. And I am a Tolkien fan first. Always have been, always will be. I like the hopeful nature of his stories. Even though they are about death. Essentially, they're about death and things dying. There's still something really hopeful and beautiful in them. I love George too. George is good at what he does, except Tolkien can finish something and George can't. But yeah, they're completely different things. George's thing wouldn't exist without Tolkien's, though. So I'm a Tolkien fan first. So that's why I am very surprised I'm liking House of the Dragon. And it should not be. It should not be. Comedy loves tragedy because what better time to laugh than when things you love are destroyed? To every man upon this earth, death cometh soon or later. And how can man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? Beautiful. And that is from Ivelo Grebin. I'm going to mess up your last name. Grebinarov for 100 Belgian pesos. I first heard that in like Doctor Who. I did. Wolf Mahler for $2. Hey, we love I miss Word of Wolf, man. That was a great YouTuber. I hear from him, of him from time to time through Mahler, and hear that he's doing like really good. And I'd love to hear that. Love Word of Wolf. For $2. Ring poem turned into a Bond theme at the end. Yeah, that was shit. Seth Rich, what? For 5 Canadian pesos, Galadriel's Fortnite skin when? I think they are actually doing that, right? Didn't I hear that they're doing that? I think they're doing that. Which is sacrilege. King Harkonnen. for $5 US. Bilbo's mithril mail is made of thousands of mithril rings. So does it give him the power of a god? Apparently so. Ducknuck 84 for $5. The funniest thing about Sauron thinking Galadriel has friends. Shameless plug for Stop Selling Rings of Power book covers petition on change. No, dude, do it. It's about the message, not the success. Got season 8 petition. Got season 8 petition. Anyone? Parker for $5. Go check it out. So if there is a petition for just not either removing it or just not buying them, just don't buy them. Just don't buy them. It's Stop Selling Rings of Power book covers petition. Go sign it. I'll sign it. Honestly, support your local bookstore, your little mom and pop used bookstore. If you haven't read Lord of the Rings, there's a little paperback you can get. I mean, there's some nice special editions that Amazon's offering. I would say, I mean, like, I just buy them on eBay. I know they still get the money. I know it technically doesn't help, but it's not getting money from me. It's not getting money from me. And I've said no to so many cool things because of woke companies treating fans like shit and treating me like shit. Like I saw Az got his HasLabs Galactus, and I'm like, I can't do it. I canceled my order. Even though I waited forever for it, I canceled my order because I can't do it. JL Lammy for $2 Australian. I was unsubscribed, not my doing. You were, huh? There is occasionally like bot cleanses here on YouTube. YouTube actually does them way more than Twitter does. And thanks for letting me know. And thanks for resubscribing. I appreciate it. They do them generally every weekend, but sometimes they do a big one, and there's always collateral damage. So, if you can, make sure they make you hit the bell, and it's so lame, but if you get unsubbed, it's not your fault. Just saying, it's not your fault. Unity 202 for $4.99. I'm so sorry you had to review this garbage show, but as I said to Az, the sacrifice of your sanity saves us time on our sanity. So we appreciate it. Oh, that's good. That's good. It does some good. Brian for $10. Travesty, noun, a debased or grotesque likeness, an exaggerated or grotesque imitation, such as parody or of a literal work. A travesty, and it's a travesty. It's an absolute travesty. Sir Lopez for $2. New Velma Scooby-Doo show is very brave. I'm crying. Yes, including not having Scooby-Doo. That's an interesting decision. Have a Scooby-Doo show without Scooby-Doo. But how many Batman shows do we have without Batman? Got a damn Batman game coming out without Batman. Dave Dahl for $4.99. Thank you all for your hard work and for keeping us laughing. Going in for heart surgery tomorrow. Oh my, what? I really appreciate you. Dave, we appreciate you. All the best. All the best, man. Like, seriously, when you get out and you're feeling better, like, shoot me an email. At least, so my wife can see it and let me know that you're okay. Please let us know you're okay. You don't have to send a super chat. Just let us know you're okay. Best of luck in the world. Golden Melody, $7.22 for $5. How can anyone see Axing Celeborn for the cringe Salandriel Temptation of Eve storyline as anything but super gross? Also, hail El Jefe Ferazon. I know, right? Yeah, dude, the last temptation of Galadriel. Did you like that? That's what that scene was. It was the last temptation of Galadriel. We got Andrew Montpetit for $2 says Rings of Problems. It has a lot of them. Kenny Justice for $5. This sounds so damn sad. I'll stay in my anime worlds and everything I grew up with. By the way, did you get my email? I have not seen it, but my wife might have gotten it, so I'll check. Okay. Chris Rose for $2. Gary, why did you not meet us? Where did I not meet you? Why did I not meet you? Chris Rose, I don't know. but hopefully I can rectify it at the next meetup, which will be October 30th in Orlando with Geeks and Gamers. I'm trying very hard to change the name of the meetup to the Anti-She-Hulk meetup. Chris, I'm sorry if I didn't meet you, though. Sorry. Anvek, Distal, Car for $2. Damon beheading Rings of Power meme thumbnail when? Soon? Well, maybe just the meme. I don't know if YouTube would like the thumbnail. It took YouTube 3 days to monetize the House of the Dragon because I'm guaranteed because there was bullets on the thumbnail. But they couldn't think of a way around it because it was really a tame. Although my last Rings of Power was tame and it got demonetized. Corey, whatever, it's fine. Corey Castle for $10. We've been upgraded from trolls to threat to our democracy Balrog status. Balrog army, yes. Oh, yes, I want to be a threat to the woke democracy. The woke Marxism, fucking democracy. They play with that word like they give a fuck what it is. Bill Andrew Paraletta for $2 New Zealand dollars. This episode could have been one season, LOL. I know. Well, let's be real. Revenge of the Sith should have been the entire prequel trilogy. We didn't need Attack of the Clones of the Phantom Menace. Unity 202 for $4.99. I love how every time I ask these movies or TV shows, can't get any worse, they literally Ryan Johnson my expectations. They do. Diaper, what is it? Diaper Nakas for $10. Thank you for doing what you do. Since the mention of the season 1, I wanted to love the idea, but I knew that Amazon would be capable. But I knew what Amazon would be capable of. Watching it would only upset me, and I'm glad I haven't given them a dime. Tolkien deserves better. And let's show a little empathy for our Wheel of Time fan brothers and sisters out there who are going to have to endure a season 2 pretty soon. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. The Burke for $5 Australian dollars. They can sleep at night because the fact that 100 bills are made of the fact that 100 bills are made of linen and probably the residual cocaine. Oh, the residual cocaine on dollar bills, which there is a lot of, by the way. They just make me appreciate War in the North more. It was a game that fully acknowledged that it wasn't canon, but still tried its hardest. I'll have to check that out. Phantom Dragon 1475 for $5. Not so sure about Shadow of Mordor. Icarus Ultra for $2. Nerdstradamus. Love that one. You're welcome. You're welcome. The poem at the end, Blind Guardian did it better. Raven Ragnarok for $2.49. Yes, they did. Blind Guardians, good. What's your opinion of Jeff Johns and Ivan Reese? Asked Caleb Dixon for $1.99. I don't have much of opinion of Ivan Reese. I think Jeff Johns is a great, great comic book writer who does not work very well in Hollywood. His JSA run is one of the best runs I've ever read. His Teen Titans run is one of the best runs I've ever read. The man is an encyclopedia of knowledge. I think he's gotten a lot of shit from Snyder fans when I truly believe that he got caught in the middle of a pissing match between Zack Snyder and some really freaking evil, and I mean evil execs at Warner Brothers who are all fired now. But I don't think he's very good with scripts and films and should stay far away from anything DC as far as cinematic universe is concerned. Just found a film portrait of J.R.R. Tolkien, 1996, narrated by Judi Dench. Dame Judi Dench, and posted by Sid Enron. Thanks for watching Rings of Power, so I didn't have to. Good. Watch that video, Williams. You'll love it. You'll love it. Time well spent. Icarus Ultra for $5. Hello, Nerdstradamus. Love your channel. Keep it up, King. Thanks. I appreciate it. Sadukar, 7th Legion. What's up, my friend? For $5.69. British pounds, long time. Hey, mate, can you plug Pop Culture Mechanic? Of course. He covers retro and anime and is close to Magic 1000. Oh, it's close to the Magic 1000. All help. Welcome. Can you, if you find it in your heart, you want to make somebody happy. I love doing this. Go find Pop Culture Magic, and pop culture is, I guess, one word. So Pop Culture Mechanic. He's close to 1000. If you can help him get there, that'd be cool. Make somebody happy. I'm going to be plugging one of my channels on Friday Night Tights because we're getting really close to 100K, and it would help our friend Perry Chan, friend to you and me, international treasure. Hail, Gary. Came here for the Tolkien and nerd culture, staying for the great content. Ah, thanks. And that's Hitet Ung for 500 Japanese yen. Hail to you. And hail Japan, by the way. My wife loves it there. I think she'd want to live there, except I don't. Because I don't. PewDiePie lives there, though. And it looks pretty nice. Jesus Davila for $1.99, a thumbs up super sticker. Watch out for those thumbs up. You might upset a Gen Zer. Chris Rose for $2. It was from the old opening with Frodo and Gandalf. Some old dude gifted 5 Nerdrotic memberships for $25. Thank you very much. Rory for $5 Australian. Not Gandalf is just Iggy Pop on a bender. I would appreciate Iggy Pop on a bender. I've seen Iggy Pop on a bender. One of the greatest showmen who ever lived. If his pants weren't halfway down to his knees and he wasn't bleeding, you weren't getting a good show. Horror Amarada for $10. My mother was going to watch Rings of Power, but even the stills look nothing like Tolkien. Just listening to this travesty makes my blood boil. Looking forward to seeing you at the meetup. I'm looking forward to seeing you again at the meetup too. It was great meeting you in Houston, by the way. You're awesome. All right. Got to get out of here, folks. My voice is dying. We're done with the super chats. And you want to come in for a second, X-Ray Girl? Say bye to everybody. Maybe not. You can bring yourself in. Hey.
Hello. Sorry,
Hello.
I was on speakers, so I can't hear
You
you
did
yet.
a really
Okay.
good job.
Huh?
You did a really good job tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just us hanging out. So we got one more. Jack says, just watch King Viserys entrance. Just wow. Yeah. Go back and watch that like. We'll talk about it on House of the Dragon. It was a beautiful scene. His entrance and his exit was beautiful television. Best episode of anything I've seen this year. So if you haven't tried House of the Dragon, especially if you haven't seen Game of Thrones, it might even be better. Go check it out. Is there anything you'd like to plug, young lady?
No. Just want to put my eye mask on and go to bed.
Yep, we're gonna do. Thanks for hanging out the whole time. I really appreciate you. Hail X-Ray Girl, everyone. And she's got shirts for sale that say "Go Tit" that are gonna go towards breast cancer like treatment or awareness.
So I'm trying to find a hospital or a clinic that needs new equipment, but if not, it will go to the Cancer Society, which they're matching donations towards breast cancer research. So
excellent.
Yeah,
And we'll be plugging that on Friday Night Tights. Thanks to the Modrotics. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat and a donation. You help keep the lights on here. This wraps it up for the Rings of Power live reviews. There will be a video review on Sunday. There's going to be a Rings of Power video in about 8 hours on this channel. So go check it out. Followed by Friday Night Tights, where we're going to tear this thing an absolute new one. Now, I know he's still streaming. And like 6,300 of you hung out this long. Go visit our friend Shadiversity. I think he's on the Night's Watch right now as we speak. I'm just guessing that. I think he's going right now. Please go rate his chat. Tell him I sent you. And have a good time. If you guys want to stay up and have more entertainment, Shad will entertain you. In the meantime, see you tomorrow on FNT.
Bye, everyone.